Oh, how is it going?
Oh, all right.
Sorry, I'm running a little late today, but here we are.
One of those days, is it?
Yeah, but not bad, just one of those days.
We all have them. We all have them.
Yes. Yeah. How
So
are
I'm
you
just
doing?
saying,
How are you
I'm
doing? How
fine.
are you? Good.
I'm fine. Um, Got quite a lot to do. Something I want to talk to you about as well, about possibly getting involved in.
Okay.
Um, and we've been doing a documentary, as you know, with ABC. And hi, Sandy. And the the documentary have asked me if I would let them speak to somebody who, as a military person, pictures are used in scams and what sort of things happen. And I thought, well, Dustin.
Yeah, I'd love to. Whatever you need.
So I've sent back to them today because they just asked me today. So I sent back to them today. So I will probably be coming back with you to contact Chris and arrange something with her
I like it.
about it. They are doing a really spectacular job on this. They really are. Hi, Candy. Um, it's very good. So it's coming out about June or July, I think. But they're getting on really well with it.
Cool. I
Um,
like it.
and of course, they want to know the sort of things we deal with and how we deal with it, and basically what comes in every day. And what interested me was what you and Sandy were talking about last week. Our real-time resilience stuff.
Yep. I've got it pulled up on my end too.
Because we find that it's very easy for people to go back. And I was thinking about this when I was listening to you, and I thought, yeah, because I mean, what is it that everybody always says first, Dustin? I'm so stupid. Why did I do this? I'm so stupid. And because we're human, it's automatically turned back on ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's what we do by nature.
And
I mean, whatever it is, whether it's with scamming or anything, I use, I guess, kind of fitness and working out is a great example. I've had this conversation off camera with friends here, totally irrelevant, but they've come up since this conversation. Just like anything, if you want to start working out or get in shape or whatever, if you're not into that kind of thing anyway, to try to start, you get into it and you're really excited and maybe you got support around you or whatever. 2 weeks it's going great, 3 weeks maybe even four, but then you fall off, you miss a gym session, or you
yeah,
miss a
yeah,
meal, or you miss one or two of these minute things, or maybe you miss a couple days in a row. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, you're
yeah,
such a
yeah,
you're a terrible person. Did you know that? You're a
yeah.
terrible person for missing the gym 2 days in a row. You should just stop and not try to make yourself better anymore. That's what we do. If you miss a couple days, you're like, oh well, I tried, I
It
just
is
couldn't do it. So then
because
you
it's
stop all of
easier as
that.
well. But it's
Yes.
easier as well. It's
Yeah.
easier to back down,
Mm-hmm.
and and it's sort of to work on anything at all takes work, and
Yeah. And you gotta let sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
it's easier to step back and think, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's not
Yeah.
me. I'm not strong enough.
Yeah.
I'm not this. I'm not that. And as you say, um, it could be the gym. It could be a scam. It could be saving up some money. It could be learning to drive if you're younger or anything. And we automatically turn it back on ourselves because it's easier. I think I was thinking as well when I was listening to you, we are a bit conditioned to not blame other people. Um,
Especially today and age.
yes, we will beat ourselves up about it, but you you you're really, oh, Tyler Valencia, he's a bit young, isn't he, Esther? You know, a bit, like smart, but he's a bit young.
That
Um,
was funny.
and it's I just think that um when I called this whole thing scam haters, I got a lot of flack, and I nearly changed the name. And I then thought, no, because we allow ourselves to love. The antithesis of that is hate. So why are we allowed one honest, hi Denise, and I saw Alicia earlier. How are we allowed one honest emotion we can love? But then, if anything goes wrong, we're not allowed to hate. And I think hate, get rid of it because it's quite difficult laying on yourself. Oh, I can't be a bad person and hate them. I've got to be a good person and forgive them. Stuff that they don't deserve forgiveness. So don't put that on yourself as well. And you were talking about, you are not these things. You are not stupid. You are not,
Mm-hmm.
easy to push around and everything. So be honest with yourself and feel sorry for yourself a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love the phrase "stuff that." I wrote it down. I'm using that. You can just stuff that, pal. All right. But also too, with just in that with the whole love thing, you were so vulnerable when you're in love. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
when you give that true love to somebody, or even the affection of love with whatever, whether it's a scam or a real person, you think it's love on the other end,
Yeah.
you are totally
Yeah.
vulnerable. So I mean, yeah, you should feel that's you should feel scorned. You should feel bad for yourself. I mean, not. I mean, I'll throw myself. I told Sandy, and I'm not even joking. I can throw myself one hell of a pity party. I mean, you
Yes.
know
Oh,
that. You've seen me. You've
yes.
seen me rocking out my
I
pity parties.
have.
So yeah,
I
it's easy to
have.
do. But
Yes.
sometimes you just gotta stuff that and keep going.
Yeah. It's a favourite of mine stuff that.
Yeah.
Um, you can put a lot of oomph behind it. It's strong. It's a nice, strong word stuff. Very northern
It's
English.
better in your accent though. Oh, stop that.
That's
See, it
right.
sounds better when you say it, and I just say, "Oh, stuff that."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
sounds
Americanize it.
sounds better for you. That's yours.
um, but yeah. So we've I think that we've got a little bit of a job on our hands to actually convince other people that a victim is a victim because
Yes.
too it's too easy. If I put something on the page, it's not so bad. But if I put something on, say, like Twitter, or if we have an article anywhere, oh, the abuse that the victim will get underneath after they've told their story is terrible. I mean, sometimes it's really, really awful. And I'm thinking, oh, all these perfect people who've never made a mistake.
Yeah. Uh,
We've got to give these people some, because there's no such thing as it would never happen to me, really.
it it never will until it does. I mean, do you want me to? I got it right here in front of me, and then I have another one that I think will really help, especially with what you had said leading into RTR. Do you want me to go over RTR really quick and just kind of review what that
Mm?
was? So if you're watching out there, these are it's from the MRT program, Master Resiliency Trainer from the Army. So this is a program that was put together by a lot of smart people for a lot of dumb people in the Army and how to stay resilient. So this one is real time resilience, or we call it, you heard we call it RTR, real time resilience. It is used to shut down counterproductive thinking to enable greater concentration and focus on the task at hand. So it's when you feel yourself falling back in there, it's that you shut down those counterproductive thoughts right away in real time, hence the real time resiliency.
Mm.
You fight back against counterproductive thoughts by using sentence starters. That's what you were hearing us do a
Mm.
lot of that. I'm not this, I'm not that, I am, but so you come up with those. That's not completely true because, like I'm not a total idiot because
Yeah,
I managed to do this.
yeah,
I'm not a loser because I've done this. It's that
yeah,
resiliency in real time fighting against those thoughts is exactly what RTR is, and it's one of those that's the easiest to use. Some of this stuff gets really complex. It was an 80-hour course at Fort Jackson, and I mean, it was put together by real small, like university. I forget what college put it
yeah,
together,
yeah,
but we came out of that, and I was just, it was one
yeah.
of the hard. It was academically extremely hard, but
Yeah.
this is such great stuff. I've used it for everyone from a 4-year-old to a 94-year-old.
Yeah.
So that's RTR,
I can.
real time resilience.
Yeah. I can imagine that because um, it can apply to everybody. And the thing that I liked about it is it is everybody. It's male, it's female,
Mhm.
it's child, it's adult. It's for somebody that's feeling that something's going wrong in their life because everybody's going to have it.
And I'm really glad all this stuff came back up because I loved teaching this stuff. This is one of those that I got the material, and then when I knew what I was teaching, I didn't need my agenda. I loved teaching this stuff because it is a lot of great stuff. And it's like you said, we're all human beings. We all take losses every day. We all take wins. So we're all the exact same, just in different spots, right?
Mm,
And resiliency is just is whenever that bad stuff starts creeping in, those bad thoughts, the man, I really do want another donut, or I really do this, or when you start to struggle, that's like, hey man, let's get some of this resilience stuff.
yeah,
Is it's you want to bend and don't break. That's the thing we would say with it a lot. That's one of those phrases with resiliency. You bend, don't break. So
yeah,
it's we all
yeah.
struggle with this stuff.
Of course we do. And as I said, show me anybody in the world who's never made a mistake, because it doesn't matter what your mistake is, because some people make a lot of mistakes. But show me the person who's never made a mistake, and that person doesn't live. That person does not exist.
Right. And the person though that I want to spend the most time with is who's learned the most from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And I still remember this from high school. This was probably 96 or 97. And we had a teacher that used to write a phrase up on the board every day. And if you wrote all the quotes down at the end of the semester, you got an extra point or whatever. And I would every once in a while. I never got the points for extra credit. But I still remember this phrase still to this day. So I sat down, I looked up, and I was like, it's pretty good. It's very basic. I still think of it all the time. I still tell it to people all the time. A smart man or woman, a smart person learns from their own mistakes.
Yeah.
A wise person learns from others.
Yeah.
If if you see me step in that pile of crap on the sidewalk in front of you, why would you go step in it?
Yeah.
That's the best.
Exactly. I
That's the
like
best
that.
analogy I use in my head because it's so
Yeah.
basic.
Yeah.
You can see, but you have to be tuned into life. I won't get up on another soapbox, but that goes back into just being a student of life and those learning lessons where you can. But if you're just watching the world around you, you can learn so much in what not to do. That's how we learn what not to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Well, it is, and basically, when you think about it, and I always think, well, let's face it, when you get to the side of a road, you stop and you make sure there's not a great big bus coming that's going to run you over, because if it does, you're going to die. Um, and you learn that from a very small age, and it's something that sticks with you, and it's just something that we do. We look out for ourselves. Um,
I look both ways before I cross one way street these days.
I
And
always do.
I know that's kind of funny and it's meant to be a joke, but like it's also true.
Yeah, but you see, we do this in life without thinking about it. But then when it comes to something really different like this, um, people come to us, and I have to admit that sometimes we get frustrated with people. Um, we, we never we're never bad to people, but sometimes I could reach through the screen and quite happily wring their little necks, because we've got people coming to us time and time and time again, and we say the same things every time, and we're gentle with them, Sandy, um, most times. Um, and Sandy had one that really, I've got no patience. Sandy's got that much patience more than me, and she got this one. She got this one. So, you know, She told a few home truths, which, again, that's very often needed because you can be nice to somebody, but you don't have to compromise that niceness. You've got to help them and got to get them over it. You know,
Mhm.
you can't just, you know, hug them. I'm a great hugger in real life. But we've got to I wish we could get, and I've said this from the start, I wish we could get to people before they ever got involved in a scam. That would
Yes.
be the perfect thing, but we can't. Lady came to us today again. um I want this out there. I want this all out there. We've got to stop this. And I thought, what do you think we do every day here? We know we've got to stop this. But the thing is, and I say this every week, people don't look at something before they jump into it, which goes back to looking both ways before you cross the road, you know? So the thing is, oh, I'm pleased we helped you. We do try to help you because it is a big thing for us if we can take somebody from a scam and not get you back in that scam. Because we've said before, Dustin, about the addiction part of things. And if you have an addiction, you want to go back to whatever
Yeah.
made you feel good. And it's very hard to not have the donut, really.
Especially if you don't have a lot of other choices in your fix. I'm just saying that in terms of
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
because we talk about that like an addiction. You get those good feelings, the dopamine dumps and stuff from the texts and whatnot. But it's easier for them when that person doesn't have, say that you did get involved in a scam relationship deal and now you know that it's fake, but you don't have the gym to go and run to. You don't have your friends that you can just call. You don't have your dogs you can play with. If you don't have a lot of these things anymore, never did, or whatever the situation is, if you don't have a lot, it's much easier to fall back into that
And of
because you don't have the other, I
course,
guess, distractions.
the scam is in your home. It's
Hmm.
not, you go to the gym and you put yourself out there. You go to the gym and you try and work out, and you've got to leave your home and you've got to drive there and you've got to go to it. So that you're only in the gym when you're there. But when you've got an online scam, the scam's in your home with you. And that's the manipulation. The manipulation is morning, noon, and night, as we
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And they will try to keep your attention on them, even when they're not talking to you. They want your attention to be them. So when we say to people, I'm sorry, it's all been a scam, it's not real. You're not talking to Dustin. You are talking to a scammer. You're talking to a criminal outside your country who is manipulating you. And that's really difficult to put that thought into somebody's head because they haven't got that thought. And as Kathy says, yes, they do isolate you. They want you to be isolated because then everything that we say can't apply to the victim because they're isolated. They can't think for themselves. And, you know, people will come to us, and say about the thing. So we said, look, this is going to be very difficult, but we want you to block them. We want you to block them. Email, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, whatever. If you get a telephone number that you don't recognize, you know, don't answer it. Very few of us get surprise telephone calls from other numbers. Um, so we're saying that to people. And that's quite, it's sensible to me. And then they'll come back a week later and say, but he's still talking to me. He's asked me for more money. He's threatening me if I don't say it. I said, well, what happened to blocking him? Oh, I did. I says, well, you blocked him so well. he's still contacting you and asking you for more money. So you didn't block him, did you? Well, I thought I did, but he's using different numbers. Let me
My
just say, at this point, let me just put in a little technical thing about numbers. And that's you've got things called VoIP, which is voice over internet protocol, which are things like if you want a quick explanation, look up Google Voice. These are numbers that can be registered online. And what do you do? I could have one. I could go on now, I could register one, and I could register myself as New York. And I could still use it, sat in Hartlepool here, I could still use it. And if I phoned Dustin, he would look at it and think, why is somebody from New York calling me? Because these numbers can be used from anywhere in the world. They can be used from England, Nigeria, Ghana, Australia, everywhere in the world. And it comes up at the other end, the person that you're calling, with that New York or wherever number. So don't assume that because you've looked up the number and it's a Florida number or it's an Alabama number or it's a Kentucky number, don't assume that, oh, he must be in Alabama because that's where the number belongs. No, it doesn't. It's a part of their toolbox. So carry on. I just thought I'd mention that because we keep getting asked about it.
It's a great point. And I mean, my assumption about those is that they're all either fake or scammers. If you want to assume something,
Absolutely.
assume that it's fake or a scammer in some
Yeah.
form. Not a Nigerian scammer necessarily we're talking about,
No.
but either one
No.
of those or another scammer or some form. If you want to make an assumption, assume that it's farce. You know what I mean? Because I get those too. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that's an excellent point. And I wanted to touch on, on when you tell them to block the scammer, right? So I think this is a way that I learned to try to mitigate failure to follow through on blockage, maybe.
Yeah.
So
I
then we just kind of
know.
evolved the definition of blocking, right? When
Right.
you talk instead of, because we
Yeah.
know we're
Yeah. We know what
thinking
we
block
mean.
that account, block every other account that looks like it. If that number's similar, we in our head we know that, well, block them. That doesn't mean that one account. That means
Yeah.
everything. So now when you're telling them, when we're telling them to hey, look, you need to block that account, any other account that's, so we build on the definition of blocking, not
Yeah.
just that one, but they're all in the same boat now. If another one pops up, guess what? We block that too.
Yeah.
If they contacted me on a different app, guess what? We block that too because it's all a string continuation of that one. So we block all of that crap. It's all encompassing. Not just that, not just
Yeah.
Leroy Jenkins right here that was messaging you. Oh, well, this, he said he was his cousin. Why didn't you block it?
Yeah.
Because now I've told you all encompassing stuff in there needs to be blocked. I don't know if that makes sense, but that
It
popped in
does.
my head when you said it.
It does because people don't. I mean, and as I said, very few people get a stranger phoning them. That is something that's important. I mean, it, they're either going to try and sell you something or they're going to tell you your phone contract's nearly up and that's a scam. You know, but I wouldn't. I only answer if I know. And the thing is about the great thing about a mobile phone, but nobody's got one as great as mine. But of
That's
course,
pretty sweet.
yeah, you see,
I
um,
need one of those. That's cool.
yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but of course, when you put somebody's name in your WhatsApp or your contacts, it comes up, and mine will come up and it'll say, Adam's calling. Well, and if it comes up as either no number, which I never ever answer it, or just a number, I know I don't know that person. And I haven't gotten a life so important that I naturally need to answer that, you know? Um and also a lot of the time they are testing you. They are
Mm-hmm.
testing you to see if they can get your attention. And if
And
you
they're testing to see
answer it,
how quickly they can manipulate you.
yeah, I mean, even if you answer it, tell them where to go. That's being nice. You can tell them anything. Oh, go away, dear. That one. In slightly stronger language. They've still won because they've got you to answer it.
That,
And
that reminds me of something
go on.
else that's very similar. In recruiting, we'd always have meetings all the time about the applicants and stuff we had and where they were at in the process and this and that and how many were sending. We would do something called temp checks, a temperature
Right.
check with
All right.
with people in different levels, wherever they're at. Because my boss is telling me, "Yo, is Glover ready to ship yet, or is she ready? Whatever the next phase is, you know what I mean? Where's
Yeah.
Ruth at? Well, let me get a temp check and see if she's ready to sign or whatever. Get a
Yeah.
temp check to see if you're ready for the next one, and just start with like, yo, you ready to sign? Yep. If it's yep, she's ready. We're like, I'm still thinking about it. The call,
Yeah.
blah blah. And if
Yeah.
that follows through, you're getting a temp check, a gauge check. That's what the scammers are doing with you when they're checking
Yes, it
certain
is.
things. They're getting a temp check to see how quickly you're going to jump to and obey and do what they're asking or
Yeah.
telling you to do. That's
I,
it.
I always put it, when you finished your, I think yours will be the same as ours. When you get to the end of your phone contract, and or your your streaming service contract, your Netflix is finished or something, and you call them up and you say, I want to cancel. I found another deal somewhere else or whatever. You have a retentions department. That retentions department, they put you through and they make you offers to keep you. Well, I always think that basically on our little hustle kingdoms, they've got a retentions department and they probably start off the new ones. Right, get there, get through them, and get them back again. And I think they actually do that. And they
That's
have
a really
quite a
good
lot of
point.
success.
That's I like that because we've never really talked about that specifically. I think that's a
Mm,
great point. And I don't know if anybody out there watches Friends. It, it immediately popped in my head where Chandler, I want to quit the gym. And then but he knows he's going to have to talk to the hot chick to tell, when you try to leave the gym, it's the same exact thing where he wants to try to quit the gym. Oh, hey, we're just going to have you talk to Rhonda really quick. And she's like this hot, perky little chick, like, oh, hey, blah, blah. And of course he signs for another year.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, they have and that also shows you the level of sophistication with these dudes.
yes,
I mean, yes, they're all cowards and punks and chumps and POSs, but they're not totally incompetent and stupid in what they do. This is a rack. I refer to it as a racket all the time because that's what it is.
mm,
There's thousands of them, and they're at least semi-organized enough to know that, hey, we're going to put these skilled dudes on, bring in old Jethro to talk to Ruth this time because she's about out. We need him to bring her back in.
yeah,
She's not going to let Netflix
yeah.
go. You know what I mean? And then they do. That's a level of sophistication.
I mean, we often say to people about the confession format. The government's not very good here. We're starving. My mother's in hospital. I need money to pay the bill. I want to go back to school. They're all the same. They're all exactly the same. So, they've got a real-time resilience as well. Don't let this one go. Um, but you see, if they were just, and they'll say to you, I'm just doing this because I'm poor. I'm just doing this for this, and I'm not with anybody else. It's just me, and I'm putting food on the table or whatever. There wouldn't be fake websites. The fake websites are very good. I've got one on at the moment that's a military leave website, and it's very convincing. You can get the fake banking websites. You can get the fake Bitcoin investment websites. Now, if this was just this poor little boy who really needs to put some food on the table, um, and I always say, "Well, sell your iPhone," and oh no, it's not, and I've just borrowed my friend's phone or whatever. If it was at that point, they wouldn't have all the rest. They wouldn't have all the rest, but they do. They've got a massive back um organization that you can buy the formats from or get them, you can. Oh, I've got a story to tell you. We'll do this first. Then, me and Sandy had a really great one. Absolutely great. If I said to you about Ops 141, would you know what I meant?
Ops 141?
Yeah.
141?
Well, I had this woman who came to us and she told me very seriously about this code number that that they used, and they'd infiltrated the US military communication systems, and they were broadcasting it on TikTok, and they infiltrated these systems, and she went into very great detail about it. Ops 141 is Call of Duty. So I tried to tell her that it was Call of Duty. No, 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 it's not. It's not. So what she was seeing, these operations that they were putting out on TikTok was people. You know what they do? I might too do the same. They record it and stick it on TikTok as well. This was really great. I had 10 kills or whatever, and they'd taken it and she'd taken everything in, but she was wanting to pass it on to us as military intelligence. Well, can you imagine if I decided to pass that on to somebody?
Yeah.
I want to tell you about Call of Duty. No, it was funny in the end, but that was me and Sandy's take on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, but we're coming up to Valentine's Day in a few days, and you know we haven't had a lot of people mention Valentine's Day this year, which I think is a bit strange.
I haven't heard it as much. I only know that it's coming up because of some of commercials and stuff. But yeah, there's not a big
Yeah.
push this year. I'll agree with you on that. It seems like.
No, maybe people are getting tired of it.
Well, this was my thought earlier when you were talking about the scammer saying, "Oh, I'm just poor me and I'm trying to feed myself and can you help?" and blah blah blah. I don't know our view, and of course, I'm not trying to go political or anything because one, I don't care. Two, we don't do that. But I don't know how y'all are viewing this right now. Like America's kind of like, hey, guess what? We're shutting our doors and we're taking care of us first.
Mm,
That's my perception from where I'm at, anyways. It seems like we're stopping all stuff and we're get us first. It's kind of like taking care of this house first,
yeah,
and then we'll fix the other houses, right?
yeah,
And we've talked about that before. You've got to take care of yourself, get yourself right first,
yeah,
then because if you're not right, you can't help anybody else. So get your own shite together first, and then we start building out from there.
yeah,
It kind of made me think of that in the sense of if you're a potential victim getting scammed, it's kind of like you could almost take the same approach where it's like, look, I'm sorry that you're having problems, but I got to make sure my own stuff's in shape first,
yeah,
type of thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like take care of yourself right now. That popped in my head earlier. It didn't come out quite as well, but it's the same thing. Like because people try to guilt you into something, I don't
yeah,
get that anymore. I guess because I've been through what I've been through. Like my I have sympathy for genuine things,
yeah,
but just if I don't know the backstory behind it, I don't believe you. Period. I
yeah,
don't have sympathy for it. I don't have guilt. I don't. You're not gonna, try to pull on my heartstrings. But like, I don't know you, so I don't know that this is real hurt.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yes,
again, if you have that feeling of need and need to commit to something. I wasn't going to talk about this right now, but like we've talked about before, if you got a hole to fill, look in your own area, your own neighborhood, your own community to give that stuff out.
yeah.
But take care of yourself first. Don't let somebody tell you that you have to help take care of them. That's a bunch of crap.
But we've said this before that it's a bit like it's a bit like on the aeroplane. You know, if the aeroplane's going to crash, the mask comes down, but you put your own ones on first before you put on anybody else's. Because it's no good if you're going to put on somebody else's mask and you die because you haven't got your mask on. You've got to, in every part of life, you've really got to look after yourself first. And that's not selfish. That is just so that you can do more for everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of my favorites. I don't know if anybody knows who Jordan Peterson is out there. I
Yeah.
love that dude. He's got the 12 rules. I got to go see him live in person. But I remember one of the things that he talks about. I think it's rule 3 is take your damn pill, and that's basically just talking about how it's another human nature for us to take care of everyone and everything but ourselves. We're going to make sure, whether it's in a household family, you're going to make sure all the kids are fed, the dad's fed and happy, or the mom's fed and happy, all the animals are happy, and that they're getting their medication that you took them to their own doctor for and you got their own prescription for, and you're making sure that this dog has their medication however they're supposed to take it. Hopefully it's not one of those. But you're taking I couldn't resist, sorry. You're taking care of all of that stuff, and then you're neglecting yourself. You're the last
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
treated. And we do the same in the military. But you, I never really thought about that until he pointed it out, and then you think about it, and it's like, it's true. Take your own damn because I mean I do the same thing. I'll neglect the hell out of myself just because But so yeah, you got to take care of yourself first. I didn't mean to tirade about that, but it's
But it's true, and it's something that we don't look at. We don't actually think about at
mm,
all. Um, and I don't. You see, I don't think if we go back to having a victim and telling the victim, you know, I usually tell them to, well, look, if you've got some spare money, go out and treat yourself to something. You've been sending all this money to somebody else. That money's not going to come back. But why don't you go and treat yourself to something and be nice to yourself? You know, um, because I think people can be very, very kind, and that's the problem.
yes.
And, and they want to be kind and they want to be nurturing and they want to look after somebody. But why not look after yourself? Why not take a little bit of time and look after yourself? Because I think rather than having a Christmas and a birthday, there should be a self day. Do something nice for yourself day.
Yeah.
Um,
As
and
Miley said, I can buy myself flowers. Great song.
yeah, see, but it's true. And we've we've got to accept that these scammers are absolutely, totally heartless, emotionless. And I use emotionless really because there is no emotion on their side in the scam. So you can get dopamine up to the hilt when they text you. Well, that's fine. But really, um, they don't care. They, you know, they sort of usually they've got the shirt off. Don't know why, but they've got the shirt off. They've got really nothing to show, but they've got the shirt off, and they're laying back, and they've might be giving you a phone call or whatever, and it's just words to them. It means absolutely nothing. They are saying, in fact, most of the time they're saying half a dozen words, and you say 300 words. They just sort of there. And it means nothing to them now. It's meant the world to you, but it means nothing to them. And that's a very difficult concept for us to tell people.
I would love to jump in and touch on that specific thing
Go on.
real quick. And this is going to be some new territory for us a little bit, I think, as far as specifics. But I'll just pull from my own experience again. Like, I'll go through phases where it's like I'll be on a Tinder or market, Facebook dating or something like that, right? Where I'm like, okay, let's see if I can find somebody to at least talk to. And you'll match, and then I'm immediately paying attention to, because I'll give a few, like, hey, how's it going? Um, I'll give a few things that you could talk about. One, hi, cool, what's your degree in? Because I see you said you have a degree in your bio. And then where's that last picture from or something? I'm asking a couple things. I'm trying to relate. What do you? I'm trying to give you a few things to talk about. So most of the replies, what do you think most of the replies are? I'm great. My degree's in law. That picture's in blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you answered my stuff. Now it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, if you're interested in somebody or what I'm looking for, people want you to be interested in them. They want to talk about themselves. That's why I open with those.
Yeah.
You just answer those and don't come back with anything. Well, do you have a degree? What are you doing? Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. If it's just answering those, and it's like, okay, well, where do I go? And there's obviously nothing to reply to, so I have zero interest in this. I'm not
Yeah.
going
Uh,
to, maybe I'll do it a couple more times. Like, okay, well, let me try again. Oh, that sounds awesome, blah, blah, da, 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 da. And then it comes back with the same thing, just answers
yeah.
nothing to where, like, what do you, blah, 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 da, da, da. A conversation, I wrote it down on my cool little notebook. It should be 50-50 going
Yes.
back and forth. I
Yes.
don't give a
It should
crap.
be.
It, I'm not going to keep this whole thing propped up by just asking you questions, asking what you like. You know what I mean? So why would you continue to talk to somebody that's going to deflect? We won't even start on the deflections right now, but
Yeah.
that's not going to go back
Yeah.
and forth with you like that. That's not natural. And why would you enjoy that? Well, I mean, we know part of the why, but I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's one thing I'm immediately looking for, whether it's
Yes.
text on anything or whether
And
it's in person.
well, yeah, and it also gives you a little bit of insight into the personality of the person, if they've got a personality. And if they're interested in you, and this is different from a scammer, they will have a personality, where the scammer is just giving one-liners. I had a lovely lady who kept coming to me, and this one particular time, I couldn't find the guy anywhere, and she said, "Oh, this is promising." And she said, "He sounds quite nice, doesn't he?" I said, "I think he looks like an axe murderer." So she said, "Really?" I said, "He's got a funny look about him." She says, "Well, I'll let you know what happens." So about a week later, she come back and she said, "I want to talk about the axe murderer." And I had to laugh. So I said, "He was, wasn't he?" She said, "Well, yes, he's real." And she said, "I know where he lives." And he invited me round. She said, he sent me a picture of it. He lives with his mother. And he sent me a picture of his mother lying asleep on the couch. I said, "Oh, that's romantic, isn't it?" She said, "Yes, but he did warn me that if I went round, he was only interested in sex, and usually when his mother was asleep." Well, I just thought that was so funny. I thought, bless you, you've tried all this time not to get a scammer, and you've got an axe murderer. You know,
At least it
some
wasn't a
people are
scammer, and at least he was open with it.
he was,
I
he was,
mean,
but you know,
transparency.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
But
I did want to
mm,
touch real quick on one thing from before. I'll try not to take too long with this one, but because we talked about block all the accounts, you were talking about them on the other end, the scammers being basically entertained. Once you know they're a scammer, and if you keep talking to them, that's what people want to do. I'm big on
yeah,
finger guns today, I guess. But they want to keep talking like, oh, well, I'm getting information from them. I'm finding out this. No, you're not. One, they are on the other end laughing at you because they've
yes,
seen this a million times. And secondly, you're just continuing to leave yourself open and giving them more information, giving them more answers. Anything you tell them, you're just giving them more answers. So silence is the only correct answer, period. And the thing is,
silence
though,
is your superpower.
yeah, yes, and it's difficult at first. I get that. I vaguely remember when that was difficult for me because I love blocking people now. I've gotten that down so
Yeah,
well. I don't even, I love it because they're not worth my freaking time to
yeah,
reply to and then block or blah, 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 especially on TikTok. I love blocking TikTok accounts that I don't like. I'm not even going to reply to your stupidity. I'm just going to block so I don't see it anymore.
yeah.
Once you have blocked a few and you get used to it, it does get easier. I guarantee you.
It is, and you can sort of get some satisfaction out of it.
Yeah, yeah, oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you know that on the other end they're going to have sort of steam coming out their ears because they've lost. And if
Yeah,
there's somebody, in your situation's different because they're trying to, "Oh, Dustin, do you know that somebody's using your pictures. Yes, of course, you know, it's been going on long enough. And so anything that will, I think we've got to get people to think, because they don't think. And, you know, this is what gets people into trouble so much from the start, is the fact that, lady, this week, I want you to put out on there that you, oh, what's the guy's name? Eric Lynn or something like that. Dan Lynn. I want you to put him on your site, because I want all these women to know. I don't want any another woman to go through this. I want all the, you know, women to know that this guy is being used in scams, and whoever's using him's really good. And I said, oh, well, yeah, he's somebody we have on here quite often, which we do. And she said, oh, well, I've never noticed it. I thought, well, no, because you've never looked, you know. Oh, no, Kathy, I've never been on a dating site either. I'm too fussy. I'd have
They're not.
I'd
They're
have a
all.
list of questions that long.
They're all crap anyway. It's mostly fakes on there too. Either
Yes.
scammers or bots or not real people or just dumbasses. Like you had a great point though with like how do we educate the people they don't see it, you know? It's been right in front of your face, and until you know of this, you don't know until you know. And I had the same thought earlier when you had brought it up, or we were chatting about it, like trying to inform and educate people before they get scammed.
Yeah.
This is one of those that's like you can tell people all day long, up and down, every aspect of this, how it goes down,
Yeah.
what happens, the numbers that have, you know, the 2024. I couldn't even imagine the amount of money, you know. You hit them with all the facts in the
Yeah.
process, and they're looking at you like, oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
really? And they're doing their best to
Mm-hmm.
listen, right?
Not
But
taking it.
it's one of those you cannot comprehend until you've been in it in some
No.
form. I
And
mean,
people do. I think one thing that I've got these last couple of years, we used to always get requests from journalists. Can you, you know, can you refer me to a victim who's lost money who would be happy to tell the story? Which, of course, that's great. I mean, it does help a lot, because it brings the victims out as real people, and, you know, not fools. But, oh, you can see them as real people. And that really does help. But then it narrows it down too much. It is much better, and we've got a lot more of this, and this is why I like what this documentary is doing. We've got a lot more of this where they're doing it from either your side or our side, so they've got a bigger picture of how many people it's happening to. Because, hi, sweetie, you know, we can give them a victim, and that's fine. And then people will watch it and say, oh, that woman, did you see that woman who sent all that money? And you know, what do you want? Say hello to Dustin. I know you don't like being picked up. This is Maisie. Look,
Macy.
I'm gonna have to Dustin. Maisie. Yes, it is. She doesn't like being picked up. She likes to come up, but she doesn't like being
Yeah.
picked up. Um, and so when you just get, you know, it makes it sound like that woman, hi shortness, that woman was scammed, and it's, you know, she's sort of like really peculiar because that woman got scammed. Instead of, there will be hundreds of thousands of men and women across the United States and Europe at this moment in a scam. And you've got to let people know the size of this problem, because it's difficult to even get your head around it.
Yeah. I wouldn't even have a guess at what they are or what they were. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like a plague that's just hiding right in front of us.
Because it's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
And because, you know, you know, you used to have a telephone directory,
Yeah.
you know, years ago when our telephones were joined to the walls. And it used to have everybody's numbers in. Well, social media is just like that for scammers. They've got the world at their fingers to find out all these victims, you know. And it always surprises me when we'll get somebody from Myanmar, we get a few from Tibet and Nepal, and you think, what? But when you think about it, if you're on Facebook, you're game to be scammed
Yeah.
because
It
they're just going through looking for people.
it's a numbers game. Again, that's why I always refer to it as a racket. It was the same in
Yeah,
this comparison's perfect again in recruiting. It was the same thing. We've got all these school lists and all these college lists and blah blah. We have all these lists of people. Guess what we do? We try to mass contact, or we're just
yeah,
going down calling everyone and then
yeah,
calling them again next week. We wear these lists out, and it's the same thing. It's a numbers game. This doesn't sound great, but it's the truth. I had buddies early in the military that usually ended up with someone by the end of the night because they played the numbers game. Hey,
yeah,
baby, you wanna?
yeah,
Hey, you wanna? Hey, you wanna? Hey, you
yeah,
wanna? Eventually, you're gonna run into a yes,
yeah,
simply by numbers. Whether it's recruiting, scamming, finding a girlfriend for the night,
yeah,
whatever, and that's what they do. They're shooting all of these messages out.
yeah.
And I saw somebody in the chat say it earlier, which we know, yeah, they use copy and paste and they use
Hmm.
scripts. So
Yeah,
they're blasting these out, and then the ones that answer, they zero in on. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And then you can get them onto WhatsApp or, Telegram or wherever. And that's when you become honey, baby. Now, the thing is that when you see them, the way they talk to, and you get them, when you talk to men as well, you are babe and honey. So babe and honey is male and female. They don't even have to have two different scripts.
yeah,
They can use the same one, because, and then everybody quite likes that, being called babe and honey. I
I have a question. This is a genuine question. I've actually never asked. Um, why do you guys? When I say you guys or not me, in the civilian world, why is there the WhatsApp, Telegram? Why are there those apps?
that they
Like,
use.
yeah, no, I mean just in general, like what's the point of them? Because I knew of WhatsApp. We used WhatsApp in Afghanistan for our group
I
chat.
only
Because
use WhatsApp. Yeah,
we had
yeah,
in-country cell phones and
yeah.
stuff, so we would text. We used WhatsApp because, hey, we got it.
Oh, you
All
did
right,
it.
I wasn't even trying. Nice.
Yeah,
Um, Too early for the show to end. We still got 5 minutes. Sorry, late fireworks, folks. But no, I'm being serious because
yeah.
we used it because it was encrypted. And so why is there one now? Why are there encrypted apps for civilian use?
I have no idea. Now, Telegram is very, very popular with a lot of people. We know that the Nigerian scammer groups, the people work behind the scenes, work a lot on Telegram. I think because you can do that in bulk, it's very reliable, doesn't ever go down, and it's probably encrypted as well.
Yeah.
WhatsApp is the only one I use. I can't manage lots of apps. I tend to miss them on WhatsApp, um, because I've got, my sons and me are on WhatsApp. We've got our little WhatsApp group. But what I don't get is when they start with, can you go to Signal? I don't know what Signal is. I've never used Signal,
I've heard
so
of
I've
that
never
one.
seen it. But why that one in particular? Why do people keep inventing chat apps? And there's another one, Zangi, something.
I don't know that one.
Mel, is it
Thanks for the answers. That
Zangi,
makes
that other
sense.
one?
Yeah. I don't know that one.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't really know why there are so many. Because Zangi, that's it.
And that's one
Um,
of those that just is severely, say that you're chatting with somebody. That is so frustrating for me, almost moving up to infuriating, when I'll be chatting with somebody on somewhere, Facebook, let's say, or whatever, and they say, oh, well, let's go chat on WhatsApp. For the love of Pete, why?
yeah,
And that's
because
why
I think,
I almost stopped using Tinder, because most chicks are just on there trying to build up their Snapchat. You match with somebody and they'll send you their Snap contact. And of course, I just unmatch from them right away. But it's like, why? I don't know why. Why are you going to chat on in one place and then say, hey, let's go to another just for chatting. I do not
No,
get that at all.
I don't. And I think Messenger on Facebook and on Instagram are the easiest to use anyway.
And I'm speaking of if you're talking to somebody legitimately, you know what I mean? If we're
Yeah,
actually talking,
yeah,
I'm not talking about why
yeah,
the scammers would, but
yeah,
it's like if you're chatting with somebody you're
yeah.
interested in, why on earth would you say, hey, let's pack up and go talk somewhere else?
No,
Yeah, just to clarify.
I don't understand that. But I prefer Messenger. It's just that my youngest um, keeps getting, he falls out with Facebook quite a lot. And he can't be bothered with it, so he'll come off it. So we decided to stay on Facebook.
I
Um, he's
know
back
how
on at
that
the
is.
moment.
No, I know exactly how that is because when I was still at Bragg and I was hosting the comedy show and doing my podcast and this and stuff, I'd be working and I would ask people, hey, we got it again. All right.
You did it.
Yeah. Um, I would say, hey, do you mind if we chat on Instagram? I'm at my computer. That's easier.
Yeah,
I would say that. Hey, look, I'm working at the computer. It may take a minute.
yeah,
If I'm replying here, do you mind if we switch over to Facebook because that's I'm got all my stuff on my computer. That makes sense. And I'm asking, you know what I mean? So, but just for some whatever reason, oh, let's just go talk on WhatsApp.
yeah.
Why?
I forget to look. I really do. I forget it's there. I mean, I know that my two are on there, and I've got some other people on there as well. Um, that you know who sometimes contact me, and I just can't. It's just not in my head to keep looking there. I'm
Yeah.
just email or messenger, and you know I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our time is up
Well, I
again.
wanted to introduce one more thing real quick if you're good with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there are a lot of these, and we went over RTR before, real time resilience. This is another one that you can use because these are all tools and you have to practice, but they're all excellent tools in my opinion. And hey, all right, we're on it.
You're
We are on a
really
roll.
doing well
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is called mental games, and I'll tell you what it is, and it's kind of up to you to make up. Some people, if this clicks in your brain really well, have a way, and run away with this one. Mental games. Change the focus away from counterproductive thinking that to enable greater concentration and focus on the task at hand. Maybe the task at hand is just peace of mind. Take your mind off of counterproductive thoughts by using games that require your full attention, are hard and fun, and can be done within a few minutes. Is that making sense
Yeah.
so far?
Makes great sense to me.
I grew up as a movie buff, especially in the military. My buddy Matthew Ide. Still love that guy. But we would play movie games. We came up with it. It's like if I started, I would name two movies with the same actor, right? And then whatever the second movie is, you have to kind of identify the actor I'm using, and then take the second movie and name two movies with a different actor. Dude that was in the second movie I named, and then one other one. But whatever they are, if you want to run the alphabets, name an animal with
Yeah.
every letter, name a book with every letter. Find some type of mental game. Again, it's got to require your full attention. Uh, it's hard and fun and can be done within a few minutes. Those are mental games where if you feel yourself as like, oh man, maybe I should text him. I wonder what old Ricky Ricardo's been doing, blah, blah, blah. Self-aware to self-regulate, right? Where, hey, whoa, I'm thinking that and I don't want to end up texting Ricky Ricardo. So boom, let's play 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon. That's a classic
I
that people love.
I have this on my phone, and this is my evening, which is the New York Times Games app. And what I do, my speciality is, oh come on, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't move. That's
About to tell
so
them to
my
stuff that.
speciality. Yes, my speciality is Wordle. So that's the one I start with on the night because it really does make you think. Um, but it takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you can do it in less than that, you've only got 6 goals to get it. I like it. And then I've got a little thing where, I go down the list, and that's my unwinding of a night. And that's my, as well, even daft things like how many words can you spell with